So today I'm going to be talking about how, as a footballer, you should do what works for you and how you should avoid getting caught in the trap of, tracking data and being obsessed with, following science and research papers. Because in my opinion, this provides more of a distraction than actually helps your game. Now, what I mean by this is that I've seen so many people, buying, in my opinion, just useless equipment and doing, and trying different techniques and basically different things to, that they think that will help their game. But in my opinion, it causes much more of a distraction. So what I mean by this is, they're buying, like the vest that people wear to, track their data, track their heart rate, and do all of that. Like, and I get the pros wear those sort of things, but in my opinion, as a young player, you shouldn't really be spending money on that sort of thing. Because think about it, what's knowing your heart rate really gonna do? Like, what's it really gonna provide? What are you actually gonna do with that data as a young player? You don't really need that. You don't really need, that data, unless you've got some sort of medical condition. In my opinion, you don't really need it. Same as, like, I've seen some footballers trying to, optimize their and maximize their sleep. So they'll buy, like, like a sleep tracker. I think there's like a ring. There's a ring people wear, and they sort of track their sleep because, they want to optimize the recovery. And I'm just thinking, yo, you don't really need to do all of that. Because in my opinion, when I've tried these sort of things, I actually figure that, let's say the sleep thing, for example. I don't think I've ever worn, like the sleeping ring that tracks your sleep, tracks the data, tracks all of that. But anytime I've sort of tried an equivalent, whether it's to do with, like my heart rate, my diet, my cardio, or whatever, I always feel like I perform worse when I track my data instead of just going out there and just doing it. Like, and I know some people have told me as well that when they've, tried tracking their sleep, wearing the wearing the ring that tracks their sleep, they actually feel like they have worse sleep when they actually do it, compared to them just, like I said, them just simply just going to bed and actually just sleeping. They say it causes much more of a distraction than it actually helps. And that's why in this video I want to tell you guys how you should just sort of do what works for you, how you should try to implement certain things. Obviously, if you see something online that you think, okay, cool, let me try that, you should try that. But in my opinion, if it doesn't work for you, even if it's quote unquote the most optimal way to do something, if it doesn't work for you specifically, how you shouldn't try and force it, how you shouldn't try and do it, even if it might make you perform worse, play worse, not really get you into the zone to, perform your best on the football pitch, but you're still trying to force it because you've been told that this is the most optimal way for footballers to do a certain thing. And in my opinion, that isn't really the best way to go. Because the main thing is literally about you as an individual, getting you mentally prepared, getting your body right, getting your mind right to perform at your best. And obviously, if you just keep following, research papers and science-based data, you need to think about it. Science-based data is literally just research that they've conducted on other people. Literally, it's research that they've done regarding other people. Now, we all know everybody's different. So why would you literally base everything on science and, on tracking your data, when you know that everyone's different, where you yourself as an individual, you're different. You should know what works for you and what doesn't work for you, in my opinion. That's why you see, like, I think I was watching a podcast recently between, two NFL legends, and one of them was saying that, yo, he just ate McDonald's before every single game. He just ate fast food, just ate McDonald's before every game, every training session, and he said he never had any injuries, and his game, he never saw any deterioration in his game. He said that he was fine, and I think he played, 12 years in the NFL, and I don't think he ever got injured once. And obviously, the data would say, oh, no, that's not optimal. He should do this, he should do that. But look, he found what works for him. I'm not encouraging you to, eat shit food, eat fast food. But I'm just saying that this is an example of, like, yo, hey, certain things just work for certain people. Certain people can get away with doing certain habits. Certain things just work for certain people, even if they're not considered optimal. So obviously, he said that, yo, he used to eat fast food, but his game never deteriorated. He just said that, yo, his argument was that, yo, as an athlete, it's about the training. It's about it's about working on your athleticism and working on your skills training. That's his argument. He said that the diet doesn't really matter. However, his co-host on the other side was saying that, yo, diet does matter. He was saying that, yo, when he went from, that fast food diet to, eating healthy, he said an increase in his game. He saw an increase in his performance, and he was arguing that, yo, you know it provided him longevity, because I feel like the guy who's eating fast food, I think he played 12 years, and then the guy who's eating, healthy food, he managed to play 14 years. Obviously, from that, it seems like, okay, cool. The healthy eating actually helped him by 2 years to play more games, to play for multiple years. However, let's be honest. I think those last 2 years he wasn't really at his best. He was still sort of declining as a player. Whereas the other guy, I'm saying, he might have only played for 12 years, but their peaks were kind of similar. They still sort of had their peaks for 5 or 6 years. They still were playing at the top level for the same amount of time. The other guy who was eating healthy, he was just sort of there for the last 2 years. He wasn't really getting game time. He was sort of like the old guy. He was sort of like the old guy in the change room. You know what I'm saying? So obviously, like I said, certain things just work for certain people. And in my opinion, as a footballer, like I said, if you see something on the internet and you think, all right, cool, I want to try that. Like I said, try it for 2 or 3 weeks. But if it doesn't work for you, in my opinion, switch it up. I don't want you to get caught in the routine of like, oh, I need to do this because this person said it's the most. This person says it's the most optimal. This person said it's the best thing for footballer. Literally, if it doesn't work for you, literally cut it out. In my opinion, it should always be, okay, what works for me, not what works for other people, because that's what science is based on. Science is based on, this has worked for other people. This has worked for the majority of people we've conducted research on, so it must work for everybody. Whereas you as an individual, that might not work for you. You might need to do something a certain way. Might need to do this. You might need to do that. You know what I'm saying? People say, "Oh, wake up in the morning and get in the cold tub." That's how you get optimal recovery. But you might not like the cold tub. You might just say, "Nah, like I don't really like the cold tub. I feel like the cold isn't really good for me." And you might have to do something else. Like I said, the most optimal isn't really for every single person. It's all about yourself. Literally, just try all the. Like I said, you're allowed to add in certain things, add in little things, try certain things, try it for 2 weeks, 3 weeks, a month. Just how many weeks you need to see if it actually works. But if you find out if you find out it works, then keep it in your routine. Keep it in your routine, and just keep doing it from then. If it's actually helping your game. But if it's not helping with your game, you cut it out and just find what actually works for you. Find out what actually helps you perform at your best. This comes, like I said, this um I'm considering here diet. I'm considering your sleep. I'm considering your pre-game preparation, what you actually do. Just literally every aspect, your recovery, every aspect of you being a footballer. Literally, I'm just saying that do what works for you, even though it might not be considered optimal. This could even be your routine in the gym when you're lifting weights. Do what works for you. If you feel like you're doing certain exercises that are making you faster, more explosive, making you more springy, causing you to jump higher, but they're quote unquote not optimal, keep doing them, because ultimately it's what works for you. It's what works for you. Sorry. Even if other coaches might be like, nah, but this is better though. The science says that this is better because this muscle works here, blah, 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 this muscle, bro. It's literally about what works for you, what gets you into the zone, what gets you physically and mentally prepared to play football, play at your best. So the thing is with me, I'm not against science and research. I'm not against it. I think you should take what I think you should take. I think you should experiment, try things. If you see something that looks intriguing to you and you think, okay, cool, I might try that. Like I said, try it for 2-3 weeks. I'm not saying that you should never look at the research. Like you need to learn how your body works. But I'm saying make sure it's personalized for you. Make sure you do things that's personalized for you. Because the thing is with research is that research also, two research papers can also go against each other. So let's say, for example, you want to look, okay, what diet should I have as a footballer? What diet will optimize my recovery, make my body feel good, perform good? There might be one study that might say, let's use a simple example. There might be one study that says, let's say bread. Eating bread is a great carbohydrate, it gives you energy. It's a nice complex carb. And basically it's just praising bread. Whereas there might be another research paper out there, and trust me, it happens all the time with research papers where they contradict themselves. There might be another one that says, all right, cool, bread is a bad carb, there's too much sugar in there, there's too much glucose, and basically just all of this scientific stuff, right? So obviously if you're now thinking, all right, cool, do I eat bread? Literally, this is a perfect example. Literally, try eat bread for like 2 or 3 weeks, and then maybe cut out bread from your diet for 1 or 2 weeks, and literally just see how you feel. Literally, just see how you feel. If you feel better when you're eating bread, then carry on eating it. If you feel like if you feel like if you feel okay, I actually feel better when I don't eat bread. When I eat things, like rice, potatoes, and basically just other things. Maybe you prefer eating porridge, oats. Then literally just continue doing what you need to do. Continue doing the thing that makes you perform at your best. And another thing as well is that let's take a guy like Kobe Bryant, for example. Kobe Bryant is notoriously known for, training and working out, 6 to 8 hours a day. He might do a block of a 2 hour training session from 6 a.m. to 8 a.m., then another 2 hours from 10 a.m. to 12, then another one from 2 to 4, and then another one from 6 to 8 at night. And he obviously, that works for him. Ultimately, that led him to be, one of the greatest basketball players of all time. But obviously, if you go to like a trainer, a basketball trainer, or just a trainer for athletes in general, obviously they're gonna say, yo, it's too much volume. You have to let your body rest. You have to let your body recover. However, when you look at a guy like Kobe, his work ethic is what he's known for. His work ethic is what people praise a lot of the time. And look, it ultimately led him to winning 5 championships. It ultimately led him to, like I said, being one of the greatest players of all time. But imagine if he listens to the research papers and said, all right, cool, I'm just gonna train only 2 hours a day. He might have never even reached the levels of greatness that he did, because ultimately, if Kobe says, yeah, I need 6 to 8 hours of training every single day in the off season and in the preseason to get my mind right, to get my body right for the season, then that's what he needs to do, because like I said, it's personalized for him. Some people might only need 2 hours of training and then they're done, but some other people might need longer. Some might need 2, 4, 6. Like Kobe, some days might need 8, some days he might need 6. It's just depending on him, on his body, how he's feeling mentally and physically, and what he needs to do, what period of the season he's in, and basically what he needs to do to just get himself ready, basically. So in my opinion, just make sure that just be careful that you're not exhausting yourself by trying to do everything optimally, by buying all this equipment, buying the vest trackers, um buying all, like I said, all the fancy football equipment for when you're training, buying all the poles, all the mannequins, doing all of those. Literally just stick to what works for you. Know what you're good at, even if it might not be, like I said, even if it might not be quote unquote optimal. You shouldn't really feel guilty about that. It's literally just all about what works for you, what puts you in the zone. I know some people who down 2 Red Bulls before a game. Now obviously, if you ask, now obviously Red Bull, is it the most healthy thing? No, it's not the most healthy thing. But if it works for him, it works for him. Jamie Vardy, for example, Jamie Vardy says, "Yo, I'll wake up in the morning, yo, I'm having 2 Red Bulls for breakfast." Now everyone knows that that isn't technically the most healthiest thing. However, Jamie Vardy, look what he's done. Came into the Premier League at 27 years old, grinded his way up from non-league, and to this day, in the Premier, he's still scoring goals. He's won a Premier League. He's won goal. He's won the Golden Boots. He's scored 100 goals in the Prem. All by waking up and drinking 2 Red Bulls. That's what is that the most optimal thing ever? No, but it works for him, and that's sort of the point that I'm getting at in this video. You understand? So, like I said, literally just like I said, research papers, take bits and bobs, take what you need, try them, experiment, see what works for you. But then stick stick to them. Stick to what works for you. Stick to what gets you mentally prepared, physically prepared for a game, so you can play at your best. So that's all I've got to say for this vid. Hope you enjoyed. I've been JT, and I'm out.